Hello. Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. I am so happy to be here. It was this close to me not being here. I am sending so much love out there to anybody who is really feeling how reliant we are on computers and technology and the internet today with the downs. I don't know if that was global or just the United States or whatever, but that was wild, right? My computer almost didn't work. And luckily, because I have not updated, I'm in business. So happy Friday to everyone who made it despite the difficulties. Mwah! I'm so happy to be here. I hope you had a wonderful week. Please say hello as you come in. Let us know that you are here and let me know what you are celebrating this week. I am Chrystelle Robinson Tiedemann, the host of the Love and Meaning podcast. And this is Friday Night Live Dive, where we dive deep into the podcast topics. Love and Meaning is all about everything leading a happiness forward life. We talk spirituality, we talk mindset, personal growth, emotional maturity, relationships, everything spirituality, all the things that I have been very passionate about in the past decade of my life when I stepped into my own spiritual journey. So it is my baby, it is my love, it is my joy, and it is available every Monday at 8 a.m. EST. New episodes drop on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and right here on my right here on my YouTube channel. You can find it with my handle at Coaching with Cree. That's me. Or just search my name, Chrystelle Robinson Tiedemann. Hello. I'm so happy everyone made it. Let me know what you are celebrating this week. I am feeling so excited and rested and rejuvenated. I am here at Val. Hi, Aunt Val. How are you? I am feeling really good today. I had 8 hours of sleep last night. It was everything I needed. It was just like perfect. And I will share what I am celebrating this week. My husband and I took a little mini vacay. I don't even know if you can call it a vacay. It was a working vacay, but we took a trip to Atlanta, Georgia to kind of scout out potentials of moving there. We're not sure, but checking out other areas that appeal to us. And what I'm really celebrating is family. So we stayed with one of my cousins who I genuinely haven't seen since I was a baby. I did see him very briefly a year ago, but we haven't, we've been separated, living far away from each other, my whole life, basically. So he used to babysit me as a child, and he was one of my favorite cousins as a baby. And now it feels like we are reunited, and it was such a wonderful time. So they hosted us. We had so much fun, and it was so lovely getting along. So celebrating, seeing some opportunities career-wise. Woo! Oh my gosh, I didn't even put my own lights. Woo! Let us know what you're celebrating, and we shine the celebration lights. Here's for family. Woo! And here's for celebrating career. Awesome, Kat. I love that. I also want to apologize because I'm sure you can hear that banging on top of the computer blackout situation. There is some construction situation. So it feels like the entire building is shaking, but that's not going to stop us. So here we are. Excuse the noise. We're here and we're going to make it good. So yay, I'm so loving that. Celebrating opportunity in general. That's beautiful. Let me know what it is that you're celebrating as you come in. Say hello. I'm so happy that we are here tonight. So this week, let me know who checked out the episode. This week we are getting really woo-woo. Okay, not so woo-woo, but this week's episode was really on the spiritual side, and it felt so good. So we're talking about spiritual journey. We're talking about once you've had that spiritual awakening, you're walking your path. And now on Friday Night Live Dive, we're going to bring it to like a practical level. Okay. So I had so much fun. Hi, I am here. Hello. Hi, Alana. Hi, Mom. How are you today? Let us know what you're celebrating. Those who haven't shared what you're celebrating this week. I'm celebrating family. Kathy Ann is celebrating new career opportunities. What do you guys have going on this week? What are you proud of? What made you feel good? What was a surprise? Anything that we can add our collective good juices towards, let us know. So we are talking about really bringing your spiritual awakening down into your life. Okay. So this week's episode was all about the uniqueness of everyone's spiritual journey. And I put out the call that living your life is actually the greatest teacher, lesson, orchestrator of all that needs to come your way, of everything. It's all about living your life. So I don't know if anyone else can relate, but this kind of thing happens. Once we've discovered that we really can have some control over how we feel about our lives, how we affect our everyday occurrences, how we feel about ourselves, our emotions. Once we start to have that inkling, something has happened in your life, you've gotten to a place where you've had that wake up where I'm going to start to be a little bit more intentional about how I feel and the way that I walk through my life. When we get there, if you're anything like me, you go really hard into the reading things, listening to things. Like I became an inner work junkie. I still am. But I really got caught up in information, learning a lot, taking in as much as I can. Don't regret it at all. But it's been 10 years now, and there is something that has become so apparent to me that I would have loved to tell my younger self when this awakening happened. And that is what Friday Night Live Dive is going to be about tonight. I am celebrating making a few decisions about my personal empowerment. Hello. Woo! What a thing to celebrate. Yes. I am so happy. I love to hear that. I would love to hear more if you want to share. Beautiful. And you know what? Perfect for our topic tonight. Perfect for this space. I want to ask that. Yeah. I would love for you guys to please like. So that's the little thumbs up button. Click the thumbs up button and like this. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. And if it calls to you, if you feel like this is helpful, please share. Share it with anyone that you think would really, really benefit. That's how the word gets out. And that's how everybody gets to step onto their personal development, personal empowerment journey. I am so grateful for all the people that shared with me. And since then, I have always shared everything that is meaningful to me to someone who I know that it will be meaningful to. So please share, like, subscribe. Got to put that out there. Thank you. So what I want to tell my younger self and what I'm going to share with you guys tonight in Friday Night Live Dive is live your life. Okay? When we step into this place of we're on a healing journey now, we realize we've got some wounds. We've got some stuff going on. We've seen our patterns. Things have blown up in our face a couple of times, maybe a lot of times. And you're like, okay, I need to pause and I need to go deep into myself and figure some stuff out. I really need to get to know myself. Wonderful, beautiful, highly recommend. This is a super important step. What I would highly encourage is that at the same time as doing that, live your life fully. Live your life fully. So don't do that kind of, I need to fully heal before I step into life thing. So if you realize that, there is some challenges coming up in dating, this was a big one for me. I took this big pause. I think it was like 6 years. And for some of that, I really needed to pause because I was just really hurting and I wanted to not be hurting. I totally understand that. But then after that stage, I got so so deep into almost the theoretical aspect, like really learning all this stuff, all these different dynamics and everything. And I wasn't actually dating. It was just like this hiatus period of me healing. And in that process, I learned all of these things. And I finally reached a point where I was like, okay, but you have to actually do the thing. Stepped into the dating world and realized all of a sudden, whoa, it is a whole nother thing to know something in theory and then something else to actually do it in practice. It needs to be both. So what I would highly recommend is that while you're on your healing journey, while you're learning things, while you're taking in practices, while you're reading, while you're taking courses, while you're listening to all these amazing teachings back to back, live your life. So as soon as I stepped into the dating world is when I realized, wow, the law of attraction stuff is great. Being happy is really, really great. I had a totally different experience now where the trigger is happening in front of my face. So then I stepped into learning about how to manage my emotions. And then I realized, okay, I really need to know masculine and feminine dynamics. All of that didn't happen until I was actually doing the thing. So I want us to have one step in the theoretical world and one step in the practical world. It really needs to be both. Healing isn't something that you have to do completely before you step back into living your life and trying to do the things that bring you the joy. So why are we on this healing journey? Why have we stepped into learning more about ourselves? Why did we start, focusing on personal development? Because you want that relationship. You want great relationships in general. You want to be overjoyed. That's how I have been feeling work career. Why the parallels? All this always happens when everything is so parallel. I love the synchronicity. Yes, 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 yes. So you see, it's so one thing to learn something almost like in a book inside of ourselves with ourselves, and another thing to learn it actually walking in life. So there's the why. So the why is to get the career. The why is to start your own business and be able to make money and feel, your creative joy at the same time. This is the why. So we can't leave the why behind when we step into our learning aspect. It has to be hand in hand. So if you want the relationship, you got to be dating while you're learning about relationship dynamics. If we want the career or the business, we have to be trying while we're learning the things. This is the key. And I don't regret anything about the way that I went on my path because, as I said in the episode, if I could have, it would have. I clearly needed to go through these stages in this path to get here. So this is not a beat yourself up. But I know that there's someone out there who's going to hear this and it's just going to give them that right nudge to step onto that path. You know what I mean? As soon as you're ready. Just like the synchronicity here with Kathy. So yes, 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 yes. We have to do the thing while we learn. This is what I highly recommend. So what I did was I came up with some key things that I think would be really helpful to incorporate on your learning, into your spiritual development, into your personal development, into your inner work to bring you into living your life at the same time. Okay? Let me know what's coming up for you. Let me know what you're celebrating this week. I would love for this to be highly interactive. Let me know any thoughts that pop up, or where this has shown up for you, or what some of the insights that you've had when you've recognized this already, or how you've been putting this into practice. So I've come up with some things, but I'm sure there are many more. I would love to hear your thoughts on what you think could be added or what you've already done. Okay? So let's jump into it. What are some things that could be really helpful for you to be doing alongside your personal development and your inner work? Okay? So I've come up with a number of things, but not in any necessary order. Okay? It's just like these are things to incorporate. Okay? So the first thing, not meaning like first in importance, but the first thing that I want to mention is journaling. I know it sounds cliche. I know that you've heard it before a million times. But really, the key thing that brings your actual life experience full circle into being impactful to you, for you to recognize the learnings, is some sort of practice of reflection. I can think back to when I was a little kid and my mom was teaching us different ways of praying. One of the things that she asked us to do was every single night, think back on your day and basically ask yourself, what did you do well? What could you have done differently? That was such a brilliant practice. Such a brilliant practice. And I, didn't incorporate it for a long time, but it's something that I picked back up when I started doing inner work again. Have some sort of reflective practice. I personally love journaling for a number of different reasons, but it doesn't have to be journaling. You could use voice notes. Now everybody has voice notes in their phone. Have a record of you speaking to yourself. You can contemplate. Just sit and ask yourself questions. I like to contemplate using the Gene Keys. You can contemplate just on your own with your own questions. You can have different books that you find contemplative, but some sort of reflective practice. Kathy Ann says, feel like there's always been potential, able to do many things, but sometimes taking the safer route, school. This is huge. This is really, really huge. It's true. And it feels scary. Like, you bring up such a good point that the reason why, for example, I took the hiatus on dating, even like continued it even after I felt like I wasn't in this like really acute pain stage, right? I'd been past that. I'd healed somewhat from that. But, it took long to step back into it because it felt scarier. It felt safer to sit with my concepts and sit with my theories and feel really confident that I knew better now. But it's one thing to know better with you, and then a completely other thing to know better actually in practice with another person, where your feelings can get hurt, or you can feel, less confident, or you have to assert yourself, or you have to speak highly of yourself, when it comes to work stuff, career stuff. All of a sudden we need to market ourselves, tell people how great we are, and let people know how we can be so helpful to them. And then that gets hard. So why don't I go and learn one more skill? I'll just learn one more skill, and then I'll be ready to jump into it. You learn that other skill, and you know what? It would be another great skill for me. If I could just, and you go and you learn one more thing. I know it. I've been there. And it is so easy to get stuck in that cycle of just learning and learning and learning and learning and learning and learning and not doing. I actually see some students in university, like I think we all know, for those of us that have been to university, we all know that friend or acquaintance who like never seems to be on the graduating, like, or they're always on the verge of graduating. It's like, well, I just want to add one more thing to my degree, or they add a second major or a third major, or all of this. It's just like this constant learning. That's great. But the whole point is for you to get into the working field, to get into real life and have a career, right? So you bring up something really big, and that's actually the second thing. So thank you, Kath, because the second thing that I jotted down that's important is get brave. Get brave. Hi, Christina. Hello, welcome. Christina is celebrating being up north and in nature. Oh, that's so wonderful. Where are you? That is so beautiful. This is such a nice time. It's so bloody hot. This is a perfect time for going north. Oh, woo! Here's for travel. Here's for getting away. Here's for being in. The second thing. Okay, so that first thing I said was journaling, aka some sort of reflective practice. If you guys know of a different reflective practice, share it with me, because obviously I don't know all of them. I only know the ones that have been helpful for me. Journaling is the big one for me. Oh, I didn't say why. So the reason I really like journaling is because I can get distracted or have my thoughts be very jumbled up in my head. In human design, I have an open head center. That's the top triangle. For those of us that have the triangle open at the top, it can be kind of challenging at times to sort out your thoughts without something kind of concrete or structured. So I really love journaling. And one of the journaling practices that I really love is free writing, because I realize that there are things inside of me that I don't always recognize. Like, things can go into the subconscious quite easily. One of the journal prompts that have been my favorite along my path is what's going on underneath the surface. I learned that from one of my mentors. What's going on underneath the surface? I used to journal on that morning and evening, and I would just ask myself, what's going on underneath the surface? I would feel into myself and just start to write. And nobody has to read it back, right? So it's just me, pen, and the paper. And I would just start to write. And what I found was a lot of things came out that I hadn't noticed. Two, I put a lot of sense to my feelings. So one of the things that happens to me a lot is like kind of feelings of resentment. I can kind of get bitter. Projector here. That's our not self theme, is being bitter. For generators, you guys tend to feel frustrated. For manifestors, it is anger. And for reflectors, it's disappointment. So I tend to feel resentment or bitter. I get into like these little like huffies or hissies and in myself. And it can be kind of like this energy, like, why'd you put that there? And you should, like, that kind of energy. But sometimes I don't even notice. It's subtle and I don't notice I'm doing it. When I asked myself, what's going on underneath the surface, it always came out. And that was the end of it. I would write it, I would read it, I would see it, and it was enough for me to like move past it. I'd be like, okay, I know what's going on. My little girl needs a little bit of attention. She's feeling what she's feeling. I give her a moment of being seen and being heard, and that was the end of it. So it kind of takes care of a lot of little things. And where it would show up a lot for me was in my relationship, because the people that you're around are the ones who get that the most. They're the ones who get your pootie the most, right? So it really is helpful for my relationship, because I would catch myself before spending the day, maybe being like a little bit short or something, or cold. So that was number one. Let me know what you guys, what other suggestions are for some sort of reflective practice. I highly recommend it, a reflective practice, because you are going to notice things that happened in your day that were super meaningful, super impactful for you. And this is not something you read in a book. This is not something that you learned somewhere. It's simply, I'm thinking back on that conversation that I had with so-and-so, and wow, I really noticed that blank, or that thing that they said was amazing. Or like I said in the episode, I just learned certain things at dinner with my husband, like things that will just happen in front of us. You overhear a different conversation with another person. or there's so many synchronicities happening to you. Sometimes we miss synchronicities if we don't write it down or we don't reflect on it. So reflective practice, that really helps to bring your life experience into the personal development. Like it brings it full circle, because life is always going to give you things that either demonstrate to you where you are, how you're feeling, how you're thinking, or demonstrate to you how much you've changed, how much things have moved, how much you have learned, right? So reflective practice. Okay, that was number 1. And your thoughts are, what's coming up for you around that? That was number 1. Okay, number 2. Again, not in order. This Kathy just brought up. Get brave, y'all. Let's get brave. I had to get brave and start dating. Yeah. To get brave and put yourself out there for whatever that thing is that you want. This looks different for different people. For me, it was opening up an Instagram. That was me getting brave. You know, what are things that are getting brave for you? What are you resisting right now? What would you rather practice by yourself, learn a little bit more about first? Follow your fear. What are you really afraid of? Right? Reflecting, journaling is a cornerstone. Big time. Big time. I'm so glad it resonates. Oh my gosh. Hi, Tyler. I'm so glad to hear that you're listening. Welcome. Let us know what you're celebrating. So happy to have you here. So, what is it that you fear? What are you holding back from doing? And this can be anything. So, if it's a matter of like, I need to just break out of my everyday routine, I tend to just do the same thing all the time. And I think that it would be so amazing to go skydiving. Go freaking skydiving. Like, that's not going to do it for me. Yes, I'm afraid, but that's not going to make a major change in my level of resistance. I'm not interested in that. But for someone else, that could tell them you're brave. For me, opening an Instagram told me I was brave. Then jumping in and saying, I'm starting this podcast and it doesn't matter how it goes or how many people listen. I'm doing this for me. That was me getting brave. And it was in these things, these pushing past resistance, working through my fear, just doing it anyway, doing it afraid, that actually showed me how freaking amazing I am, how much I can do, how capable I am. And it led to so much more. Actually, my good friend Cynthia says this amazing quote that I absolutely love. There are so many opportunities on the other side of fear. And it is one of my favorite quotes of all time now, because there are so many opportunities on the other side of fear. And it's very similar to what you were saying, Kat. So like, get brave, challenge yourself. What I'm doing on a daily basis is noticing strong feelings, taking a slow, deep breath in and breathing out. It's really helping to calm me down. I love that. And another one that I say is like spending time alone. We're going to get to that. That's another one, spending time alone, which I think really taps into this. But I think a huge part of reflective practice is getting quiet, pausing, breathing. So whether that's like a meditation practice or breath work, we need to pause. A lot of times we can kind of fake it or push through things, and we purposefully don't pause because we're avoiding our feelings, right? So that's huge. And making sure that you do it on a daily basis, making sure that you notice your strong feelings, that's the reflection right there. And then let's just get into the third one. Spend time alone, not numbing. Okay. So I know that sounds counterintuitive because this is all about live your life. Get into living your life. I think this is an aspect of living your life fully. Spend time alone, not numbing. So it depends on each person, but oftentimes, but a common one is numbing through watching television. Okay. Numbing through scrolling on your phone, numbing through alcohol, numbing through drugs, numbing through, and I don't even mean like extreme use, but if you realize that you're in this pattern of every single day when you come home from work, you pour a glass of wine almost immediately and unconsciously, ask yourself, why? Why am I doing that? What is that about? Right? Spend time alone, not numbing. Oof, not numbing. Yes, it's a big one. So the reason I put this as one in the get out there and live your life is because you'll notice, if you really think about it, that oftentimes as soon as we're alone, we need to plug into something. Like we are not enough of our own company. At one point in my life, I couldn't even go out by myself. Like I couldn't go anywhere by myself. Like I couldn't go to dinner by myself. My next stage was that I would be that I would go to dinner with myself, but I would bring a book. I would sit and I would read at dinner. And then one day I was like, you know what? You know where it actually came from? Was Sex and the City. See how you can learn from absolutely anywhere? There was an episode of Sex and the City where Carrie went to lunch with herself and she literally said it. No book, no magazine, just me. And it stuck with me forever. I was like, Chrystelle, you're going to lunch with yourself? No book, no nothing. It's amazing if we check in how much we avoid just being with ourselves. And I believe that being just with yourself is being with life. So how I like to do this a lot lately is I've been sitting out in my backyard and I just enjoy nature. I sit with my dog. We listen to the trees rustle. We listen to the birds chirp, and I just sit there and I breathe and I be. If you can't remember the last time that you've done that, schedule it into your calendar. Spend time with yourself, not numbing, because a part of you starts to speak to you. A part of you that you might not have much of a connection with comes awake, comes alive, becomes apparent, or just life around you starts to speak to you. When I implemented the 2-week rest challenge, if you want to know more about that, there's 2 podcast episodes. I think it's 14 and 15. I can't remember, but the titles are there. And about 3 Friday Night Live dives ago, we went deep into it. So when I started the rest challenge, one of the things that I started doing was walking the dog, no earbuds, not listening to anything, just me and Pup and the neighborhood. And I noticed how beautiful my neighborhood is. I mean, I kind of knew it, but I felt it. I feel it. I became part of it. I smelled flowers, I noticed how much I love one of the sounds that I love. My husband and I were talking about sounds the other day, and he mentioned one of the sounds he loves is listening to the ocean, hearing the ocean, real life. I realize I have a very special connection to the sound of wind in trees, in leaves, the rustling of the wind through trees. It just is like a balm to my soul. You can't notice that if you're plugged into something, right? So not cutting yourself off from anything, not numbing out, just spend time with yourself. So there are plenty of ways you can do that. I would love to hear from you the ways that come up for you. But another thing that I noticed in the walking my dog not plugged in is how many people in my neighborhood I started to say hello to or said hello to me because I didn't look preoccupied. I have a really cute dog. People do tend to want to stop and talk to her, but more people started to do that, and I'm making connections, making friends, and it's just another opportunity for the universe to communicate with you, for the universe to send to you what it is that you're asking for. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to manifest our best lives. And the universe is the concierge. Your universe is there trying to send you everything it is that you want. And half the time we're not paying attention. So part of living your life, being in your life, is be with yourself. Spend time alone. Even if I know that I said walking the dog, you know what I mean? And I'm talking to other people, the intention was not for any of that. It was just to be alone. Sit with yourself at home. Just be. Observe. Feel yourself. Breathe, like Kathy says. And so much will come through to you. And it doesn't have to be a long time. I realize that it doesn't take a lot of time for me to really feel deeply rested and feel really connected with myself. So let me know what's coming up for you with that one. That was number 3, right? How many have we said? Journal, get brave, spend time alone, not numbing. And what I actually love about this this time is that the ones I've written down, you guys are triggering by your comments, because that's not the order that I wrote them. So I love that. So that was number 3. Okay. The next one. Relationships. Okay. Relationships. This goes back again to that the dating thing that I was saying. I can't really work on my dating stuff until I'm dating. You can't really improve your relationships unless you're really in them. So let's say that your relationship with your family is a big contention and part of the reason that you even started to step into personal development. It's easy. Not for everyone is it easy, but for those of us who are just like, my solution is I don't speak to them. I just don't interact with them. I encourage you, step into interacting with them. Get brave. Little by little. I would like to make a disclaimer. I do not mean toxic situations. If somebody is harmful to you, that is not a smart idea. I don't mean that. But I mean the relationships that you would like to see improve. Well, then you got to get in there. You got to be a part of it. It's not a matter of, I'm going to go into my little zone, my little world, and I'm going to do my affirmations and I'm going to read my personal development books. And then the universe is going to go like this. And my relationships are going to be better. They're going to call me. They're going to say all the things that I want to hear. And then everything's great. No, I don't think that's how it goes. I think it is very important to take space, to be healthy, to not overwhelm yourself, to have boundaries. But we have to get into relationships to really see how this works. So I don't think that there's any area of personal development that doesn't really involve relationships, whether that is your friends, your family, romantic relationships, co-workers, your children. Be a part of the dynamic that you want to see improve. Let yourself be triggered. Start to use the reflection that we already talked about and see, where am I contributing to this dynamic? It is so easy to step out of the relationship, blame it on that person, and then say, well, I'm just not interacting with them because they're the worst. What did you bring to the table? How did you contribute to that? So this is, the relationships that with people that you love, get in there, because you're going to start to see how you contribute, even in the relationships that you love. Like, I have many, many friends and I love them. And you guys can attest yourself. You've watched me change over time. It's one thing for me to make these changes in myself, and another thing to have them show up in your day-to-day life with your friends, with the people that you love. It's so important to have conversations, build new boundaries, express myself in a new way, let people know what I'm into, let them know what I'm not into anymore. Really just bring your personal development into the relationship by working through it with people. The relationships that you don't love, we just mentioned it, or the ones that you want to see change. I highly recommend, I highly encourage you to get brave and little by little start to work on that interaction. Bring your part forward, let that person bring their part forward. Making new friends. I happen to have a lot of friends that I have made a long time ago. Like many of my friendships are 20 years plus. As we grow and change, I think it's a really beautiful thing. And it's not because you need to, but just because of how much it enriches life. Make new friends in this new place that you're in. Make new friends with like your new relationship dynamics and your new way of thinking and your new way of expressing yourself and feeling. And really put it into practice. See how that shows up. See the way that people respond to you differently, or the types of relationships that you can make. I think it's so important to continuously bring new people into our life and enrich ourselves in new ways. Each person brings a new experience. Yeah. And I know that this is easier said than done for some people, right? Some of us make friends easily. Some of us make friends, it's a little bit more challenging. But I think we're almost doing ourselves a disservice, especially if you're here, you care about your personal development, right? You care about becoming the best version of yourself that you can. Not everyone around you is necessarily interested in this path, right? Or interested in the things that you want to talk about. So find a community where you can talk about things that are important to you, things that you really love. Like here, one of the reasons I started Friday Night Live Dive is to build a community, to have a space where people can come talk woo-woo. We can talk mindset. We can talk emotions. We can talk about things that some people think are weird, or dumb, or silly, or whatever it is. Having a space where you're free to talk about this kind of stuff, the things that mean something to you. If you're into art, find an art community, right? If you're into music, find a forum online, find a space where you get to make your beats and you share them with other people. And then other people will tell you like, I use this platform. And then you're like, that's so cool. If you like to hike, find a hiking group. There are meetups. Like there are so many different spaces and places to find people who are interested in things that you're interested in. I think that really enriches living your life. I'm starting golf from next week. What? Hello? That's not a celebration? That is so cool. Wow. I think there may be some other golfers in here, so you might wanna hook up with someone else in our community here. That is amazing. You see what I mean? This is living life, the new me. Okay, I got chills down my spine. Like I think the hairs on my arms are standing up. I freaking love that. I love that for you. Amazing. This is what I'm talking about. That is getting brave, making new friends all in one. Good for you and relationship. Like good for you. Good for you. Yes, build that community. So number 4, I think that was number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Relationships. Get in there. This is where the stuff happens. I think it is Rory Ray. A bunch of different spiritual teachers and stuff have said this, but Rory Ray says that dating is free therapy. Because it is. No other area of my life brought up more of my stuff than in the dating life. But it was so easy for me to avoid that and pretend like I wasn't triggered by things or that I didn't have certain issues all by my lonesome in my perfectly little crafted little life, right? I love my own company. So, that's not an issue for me. I love spending time with myself. Maybe the learning not to numb one was new, but I love spending time with myself. The challenge came in stepping out there in relationships in a way that didn't feel entirely easy and safe. So get out there, let life show up, get in your face, and tell you where your next area of growth needs to be. Let people reflect to you the learning that is necessary for you. Let it be a back and forth thing. I think that oftentimes, especially in the relationships that are the most challenging, once I stepped into feeling, I guess, being brave, I started to reflect on the things that people had said about me that I didn't like. And I found some truth in those things. And then I got to work on them. So relationships are a really, really key aspect of our personal growth. So let life interact with you through the people around you. New people, old people, community, all of it. Okay. So, I'm so excited for you. I love that. So that was number 4. Number 5. Number 5 is creativity. Creativity. Who said it? Who said it? I think it was a philosopher. I can't remember who. I'm so bad at remembering who the philosopher, who like names and things. I'll like know the concept, but I won't know exactly who said it. That's in my design, actually. But they said that all human beings are masters in creativity. It's just a matter of what your creative act is. So, the creative act. Oh my gosh, guys. Have you read that book? I'm obsessed. That is one of my, it's become one of my top 5. I haven't even finished it yet, but Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Act, there's a whole lot of hype about it. Believe the hype. It's not for nothing. What a brilliant book. But basically, he is describing the same stuff that many spiritual teachers are describing. Law of attraction. All the gurus are saying this stuff, even religions. But he is describing it through creativity. So he takes you as a human being through the creative act, the act of becoming creative. Amazing stuff. I truly believe that each and every one of us has some sort of artistic value. And your art doesn't just need to be like painting, drawing, singing. I used to think that. I used to call myself artist adjacent because my best friend is an artist, the most amazing artist in the freaking world. And I love what she does. I'm like almost jealous of that aspect of her, this what her mind and hands are able to do and make so effortlessly. And so I thought I wasn't creative. And it was only very recently when I started my podcast that I realized, I'm also an artist. I'm an artist in multiple ways. I'm an artist with words. I write beautifully. They're not exactly poems. They're more like my reflections. But when I started reading back my journal entries, I'm like, this is art. My husband is currently reading Marcus Aurelius, which I didn't realize was just a collection of his own personal writings. It's a book. It's art. His own personal writings. His journal is published. So that was one of my artistic talents. Outfits, the way that I like to dress myself, it's art. I might not be a designer, but like these are artistic expressions. Like I believe that the way that I see some people parent, Kathy, one of my friends, Kathy Ann, the way that she parents, it's art. To see the way that she interacts with children, speaks to children, connects with children in this like adult child way where there's so much respect for the child, that is art. Like we all have some sort of artistic talent. My mother, the way that she was a teacher for many years, the way that she taught children to read, it's freaking art. So delve into your creativity. Live your life through your creativity. My husband creates music. Like when we first started dating, he wasn't really spending time doing that. And it was something that I encouraged in him, and life happens. We all do that, you know? We get into this place where like, I don't have time to blank. I've seen him in the past year purposefully take the time to spend more time doing his music, and he's so freaking happy. Like it puts something into him, you know, like it feeds this aspect of us, and that bleeds into every area of your life. So get creative. If you feel like you're not creative, I hear you. I've been there. You are. I want you to believe the premise. I want you to adopt the premise right now in this moment that I am creative. And now it's a matter of figuring out how and in which way am I creative. Every single one of us is creative. So if you don't know how, that's okay. It's not your fault, because we tend to glorify very specific ways of creativity in our society. I promise you, you're creative. Start going on the discovery of figuring out what it is. Okay. And that's going to bleed into our next and final point that I have. And I have a feeling that your creativity comes from following your joy. And the last point I have is enjoyment. Have freaking fun. Bring enjoyment into your life. And to figure out your creativity, follow the joy. I guarantee you, where that area of your life where you feel giddy and happy, and you might be even embarrassed to tell people about it because you think it's silly or it's dumb or it doesn't make you money, or I don't know anyone else who does it. If it makes you happy, I bet you there's a zone of genius there, and that is your creative act. Christina says, I'm getting chills. I love it. Right? Like, we are such creative beings. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let yourself tell you otherwise. And nobody else needs to see it. One of the things that I work on with my patients, we do therapeutic writing every Friday. So I make them. I don't know why I said it like that. Don't make them do anything. We take a piece of paper, and at the top of the paper, we write. Wait, why did I bring this? Oh my God, I literally just totally blanked on why I brought that up. I said that we do therapeutic writing. I don't know. It's gone. Oh my gosh. What was I talking about? I said there's enjoyment and follow your creative act. Don't let yourself talk yourself out of your creative act. Oh, well, it's gone. When it comes back, I'll say what it is. But I was going to say something cool. Anyways, so what's coming up for you guys? We covered get reflective one way or another. We covered get brave. Follow the resistance. I know. Keep going. Say the more things. I said creativity, but like, what was I saying about it? So get reflective. Get brave. Spend time alone, not numbing. Dive into your relationships. Get headfirst into your relationships. The old ones, the new ones. Don't avoid where all the challenges come up. Keep going, Kath. Get creative. Find your creativity and follow the enjoyment. Okay? Bring enjoyment into your life. It really is gone. It's okay. So let's talk about the last one, enjoyment. There's no point to all of this stuff, all of this personal development stuff, all of this personal growth stuff, if you're not having freaking fun. I'm sorry. There's no point to me. In my Gene Keys, celebration is one of like my major tenets. One of my spheres is celebration. But I think that goes for anyone. I don't see the point in any of this, like, if it's not about having a good time. The point of improving your life is so that you enjoy it. Abraham Hicks always said that the purpose in life is joy. The purpose in life is to have fun. And I highly believe it. And that can be in so many different ways. But if it doesn't feel fun to you, whether you are the most responsible person in the world, okay? Shout out to all the men out there, all the providers, like in that very traditional role. I mean, I don't mean to say that women are providers, or all of it. All of the women in my life I know are major providers. But even if you are the most masculine and traditional, it doesn't feel good unless there is joy and fun in there. What is the point, right? So if your major tenet in life and your major value is your family, have fun with your family. Have a good time with your family, not just give them a great life. And this can be in so many little ways. It doesn't have to cost money. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. But just find enjoyment in the whole process. I think sometimes in personal development, people don't start doing their personal development. They don't start doing their inner work because it just seems like drudgery. I found it to be an extremely joyous experience because to me, I got to interact with my life. Yes. To me, I got to interact with my life in a way where joy got to come first. My purpose of interacting with people got to be to make me feel good and have them feel good. My purpose of doing things in my life got to be because it enriched me and it made an impact on the others around me. Bring enjoyment to every step. Have fun. Amen. Your personal style is deaf your creativity. Oh, thank you. You are creative with food. Am I? You make the most amazing meals and everything is so aesthetically pleasing. Thank you. You know what? My hubby says that too, actually. I do really care about the aesthetics that I got from mom. Like, she would always, dinner wasn't just like dinner. Like, everything had a place and then like a garnish. Like, who garnishes their food at home, you know? That's true. Thank you. So, you see, like, I put those things there just because they feel good. So there's a perfect overlap of the creativity and the enjoyment, right? Just do it because it feels good. Who cares what anybody else thinks about it, right? Just have freaking fun. Make sure that you're bringing fun into everything that you're doing, even if it's, learning, like school, a course, your parenting, whatever it is. Bring the joy into it. Bring the enjoyment into it. It will. It's so easy to connect back to your why through joy, I find. So those are the things. Those are the things that I came up with that I think are so helpful as guidelines along your spiritual journey. You've had your spiritual awakening. You are stepping into living a purposeful and intentional life. You are learning. You are growing. I want you to now bring living your life right alongside your spiritual journey. And these are the things that I think that can make that so much more practical, meaningful, accessible. What are the things that you've come up with? Think about it throughout the week. You might want to listen back and jot these down and then really reflect on them throughout the week and see how it resonates with you. See where you've been doing this, where you're not doing this, and what other things. I'm sure that there's many things that we could add to the list, things that I haven't thought of, and things that you can implement into your everyday life that can really make this super practical. I want us to not forget our human in this, and I bring this up a lot. In this practice of living a spiritual life, follow the joy. I want us to not forget our human. The whole point is not to just be like this, no offense to monks, but unless that is the path that you're choosing, that really just being in that pure enlightened place at all times, it's about making your life this wonderful experience. So we can't leave the human beside, right? Like leave the human aside. We have to dive into our relationships, bring the joy, get creative, be brave, show yourself what you're capable of show yourself what you can do. Don't, just wait until the end and have a bunch of regrets. Let's do this and do it together. We have a community here. Everyone here is here to support you. I am here to support you. So I would love to hear from you how you are going to bring these aspects into your everyday life alongside your spiritual awakening. Christina says, follow the joy. Yes, I did. I got the food thing from my mom. Alana says, food has to be aesthetically appealing before tastes come into play. For some people, it doesn't really matter, but for some of us, it really does. I actually noticed that my husband tends to say, oh my gosh, what does he say? He tends to say something like, ooh, this is amazing, before he's even put it in his mouth. And I guess it's the aesthetic part. And I'm always like, taste it. But I should probably stop doing that. I feel like I'm not recognizing the fact that the visual aspect is just super important to him, or it touches him in a certain way. You're right. Like that just clicked into me right now. Yeah. It touches people on very different levels. So I can see that in play with him. Yes, don't let yourself talk yourself out of it. Thank you. Amen. Do not let yourself talk yourself out of it. Do not let yourself bad talk yourself, put yourself down, none of that. Just because your thing, your creative way, your whatever it is doesn't look like anybody else's, who the heck cares? You be the first one. But I guarantee you, especially now that I'm sharing things out loud on a larger platform, I continue to be shocked that I'm never alone. There's always somebody out there who feels the same way as you, and they've also never said it, and they're like, thank you for saying that, Therapy, sheesh, with patients. We were coming off of enjoyment. What are you saying? Therapy, sheesh, with patients. We were coming off of enjoyment. I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to, but you just reminded me of something that I learned in school when I was learning CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. One of the tenets of cognitive behavioral therapy is with your patients, session one, the point of session one, always, no matter what, is pleasure. The thing that they focus on, if you ever have been to or you go to cognitive behavioral therapy, the practitioner's first goal is to bring pleasure into your life. And why is that? Because until we are stepping into joy, until we're tapping into really the whole purpose behind everything that we want in our life. Why do you want a relationship? Because it will feel good. Why do you want a great career? Because it will feel good. It will bring me money. Why do you want money? Because it feels good and I can do things that make me feel good. It all comes down to pleasure. So bring it to the forefront. There's nothing to be ashamed of there. It's the freaking point. And the people that have been the most influential to me in my life fully understood that. They fully knew that, and they walked with their pleasure on their shoulders, in the palms of their hand. They walked with it. And people love to be around people that bring the joy. So make sure that pleasure is involved in there. Make sure that we're coming off of the enjoyment. I thoroughly enjoyed this. So this is enjoyment for me. One of the reasons that I started Friday Night Live Dive is because I love doing the podcast, but I was chatting with my husband one day and I was just like, the one thing that I feel like is missing for me is interaction. Like I want to talk to people. I want to know how people feel about it. I want to answer questions. Like, let's bring it to real life. And that is joy for me. So this experience here, you guys showing up, you guys sharing your thoughts, sharing your feelings, sharing your ahas, this is joy for me. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for helping me to fulfill this dream of mine. And thank you for showing up. Thank you for caring about your own lives enough to be here, to interact with each other, to encourage each other. I want you to give yourself a pat on the back. I want you to take a moment and congratulate yourself for every choice that you made to get here, because this matters so much, not just for you, but for every single person around you. every single person around you. You're having such a positive influence on just by caring about how you show up in your life and how you feel about your life. So thank you for being here. I love you so much. This is the highlight of my week. Reminder, podcast drops every Monday, 8 a.m. EST on Spotify, Apple Podcast, right here on my YouTube channel. Drop your questions, drop your comments. If you can't show up live, I will answer your questions on Friday Night Live Dive. Friday Night Live Dive is here on the YouTube channel, 6 p.m. EST every Friday. And in my show notes on my Instagram, which is Coaching with Cree, there's a link in my bio to book a reading if you're interested in human design reading, and also to book a 20-minute clarity call if you are interested in coaching. All of the things that I'm sharing here, all the things that I bring up in Friday Night Live Dive that I talk about in the podcast are the things that we can work on one-on-one. One of the ways of building a community for me was through coaching. Bringing things into my everyday life really stepped into place when I started to get coaching, because it's one thing to like just be in my own little world, but have somebody else reflect back to me, to contemplate with, to see things in me that I'm not seeing. It is absolutely priceless. It is priceless. So if that's something that you're interested in, that you're ready to invest in yourself in this way, it would be my absolute pleasure to work with you. So a 20-minute clarity call, there's a link in the show notes, and we can discuss all the details, what your goals are. And reminder that there is still really amazing preliminary prices going on. If that is something that you're thinking about, this is a wonderful time. Thanks, beautiful. Have a wonderful night. Thank you. I love you. Excellent. Thanks for sharing. Thank you. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'm sending you so much love, and I hope to see you next week. Bye. Woo!